call this piece Cash Crash. So he's been making exactly the wrong kind of news lately. He sent a plane, according to reports, to go see his honeypot, absolutely not Mossad girlfriend in
Right.
concert.
She's
And
a
then he
she's a
put,
sensation. She's a country music
she's a
sensation.
sensation. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Her stuff is much better than what you would get from the average AI program for sure.
Yeah.
He pushed out a 27-year veteran of the FBI who became the third head of the Critical Incident Response Group, which includes FBI pilots, to be fired or removed in Patel's short regime, adding to a year filled with retributive termination. So he fired this guy basically for ratting out the fact that he took an FBI jet to go see his
Right. Right.
girlfriend's concert. And then FBI SWAT agents were reassigned to guard director Kash Patel's romantic partner, who is not at all Mossad, country singer Alexis Wilkins, a move experts say has no known precedent and one that raises urgent concerns about diverted crisis response. So apparently the name change has taken. They are now officially, MSNBC is now Multiple Sclerosis Now,
Yes.
is the new name of the channel. But they did break this story. Now, I know, some people will be like, oh, but can you trust them? Well, not really. That's why we didn't cover it when this story broke last week. But in light of more recent reporting, now you have to kind of take it seriously. Trump weighing the ouster of Kash Patel, according to sources. Trump and White House aides have confided to allies that the president is eyeing removing Patel and is considering top FBI official Andrew Bailey as the Bureau's new director, according to the three people. Patel is described as being on thin ice, and his ouster appears closer than ever, with Bailey as the logical replacement, two of the sources with knowledge of the situation said, though Trump could change his mind in the weeks to come. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has been frustrated with both Patel and Dan Bongino, in particular over Patel's untimely social media posts boasting prematurely about case breakthroughs, which sometimes threaten to jeopardize investigations. Both Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche have been irritated by the continuing distraction of news coverage of his questionable use of taxpayer resources, multiple sources have said. Okay, so if we're getting this straight, Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's personal attorney, who still acts in that capacity by helping Ghislaine Maxwell suppress the information in the Epstein files to get moved to a club-fed prison that she's not legally supposed to be in, and Blanche Dubois Bondi, they think that Bongino and Patel are too unprofessional. They are too unprofessional for that crew. Let that sink in for a second. Trump inserted Andrew Bailey in the unusual role of co-deputy director at the FBI in September amid broad Republican concern about Deputy Director Bongino's lack of experience for the role. Bongino, a conservative radio show host and former Secret Service agent, had no experience in the FBI when Trump chose him to serve as deputy director after his inauguration. All right, so you got this. So Bongino is such a fucking joke that Trump had to put in a competent person to actually do the job that Bongino is theoretically supposed to be doing. Under federal law, Trump can install Bailey as acting director of the FBI without Senate confirmation, but only after Bailey has served in his current senior leadership position for at least 90 days. Bailey was appointed on September 15th. Under the requirements of the Federal Vacancies Reform Act, Bailey could begin working as acting FBI director anytime after December 15th and serve for the next 210 days without confirmation. Bailey previously served as Missouri State Attorney General and has earned high marks inside the FBI ranks, who consider him a steady hand on the helm, which several internal critics argue Patel and Bongino are not. That seems like a Trump move. Now,
Well, this was the tell for me. This is how I suspected that was a real story when they put out this photo.
Yeah.
So like, no, was it?
Secretary Sugar Baby put this up in response to that story. This story is completely made up. In fact, when this fake news published, I was in the Oval Office where President Trump was meeting with his law enforcement team, including FBI Director Crazy Eyes. I read the headline to the president and he laughed. He said, "What? That's totally false. Come on, Kash. Let's take a picture to show them that you're doing a great job." Do not believe the fake news. Oh, yeah, he's a dead man. He's a walking dead man. This is exactly how Trump would do it. No, we're fine. We're
here,
fine.
take a picture. Come on, let's take a picture together.
God, December 15th can't come fast enough with this fucking guy over here.
Well, it works out very conveniently because that's when the Epstein files are due, right? Right around then, because their 30-day window is closing. So then they'll put out some bullshit. People will get furious at Kash Patel again, and then he'll fire him for that.
Yeah, for mishandling the Epstein
you
files.
Mishandled it. It's a shame. We'll never know the truth, I guess. It's all his fault. It's all Kash's fault that we'll never know.
What he did with those files.
Is
terrible. I heard he felched them out of his girlfriend's ass over there. She's not Mossad, by the way. She's not Mossad, by the way.
But those aren't redactions. Those are shit and cum stains all over the names that we can't.
It's disgusting. I can't even. I tried to get a team in there to work on them. They sent me to HR for harassment. They called it harassment because there's so much bodily fluids.
We didn't redact anything. There's shit all over. We can't see it.
They thought I had a fetish or something. I'm a germaphobe. I'm not into that. So Nick Sorter, Trump was asked on Air Force One if he's gonna fire Kash.
Be nothing like it.
Are you planning to replace Kash Patel as
No, he's doing a good job.
This week,
Kash Patel? No, he's doing a great job, I think.
This week we saw those cases against James.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Doing a great job. Now, what's kind of funny, man, I'm picking on Nick Sorter a little bit today, but he deserves it. Aboard Air Force One, President Trump personally, so he goes, this is his style. This is the house style of Nick Sorter and whoever else is running that account, because most of these people have a team. It's a business. Personally shuts down rumor that he wants to fire Kash Patel. This is what I mean. He's not as overt as Gunther Riegelman. You know, it's a little more, the support is a little more subtle. But this is where they're going to have a hard time. They're supposed to rally around whatever daddy says. But yeah, how do you rally around this guy?
Say the FBI has Epstein's list, they're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list?
You've seen most of the file. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday.
Yeah, according to reports, 40 minors at the time, have testified that they were trafficked by Epstein. So now this is where this story is starting to look more and more credible. This is a New York Post here. New York Post. Damning report labels FBI rudderless ship under Kash Patel. All right, so let's read some of this. Some of this is pretty good comedy material. FBI Director Kash Patel is facing withering criticism from an alliance of active duty and retired agents and analysts days after the White House denied media reports that the president is about to fire him. A troubling new report card on the first 6 months of Patel's leadership concludes that he is in over his head and his deputy, Dan Bongino, is something of a clown, according to the alliance, which in two previous reports warned about crippling DEI and politicization of the FBI during the Biden administration. Okay, so this is a nonpartisan working group. They previously reported on DEI and politicization under Biden. Okay, so they criticized many of the same things that Kash Patel criticized as the incoming FBI director. Now, Michael Tracy, who I don't know who's paying him or if he's just Andy Kaufman in disguise, but he seems to kind of supporting Dan Bongino. He shared this clip of Bongino claiming there was nothing to see there in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, if you watch Dan Bongino here, it's very similar to every other interview I've seen with him. If you interview this guy, he turns into a bug-eyed, blathering, sweating freak who clearly is guilty of something and clearly feels like he got himself into a situation he didn't really understand when he took the job. Here he is on that.
You know what, Maria? Kash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on every single detail, nugget, tendril of this case. One is actively in court right now, so out of respect for the case, it's probably more appropriate that I stay quiet on that. However, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth, and whether you like it or not is up to you. If there was a big explosive there, right? Given my history as a Secret Service agent and my personal friendship as a director does with the president,
look at Kash over there.
Give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have. If you can think of one, there isn't. There in some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there. And I know people, I get it. I understand. It's not there. If it was there, we would have told you.
Oh, no, he's not lying.
Yeah, no,
he's not lying. Yeah.
That seems totally on the up and up there.
Kash is just sitting there like, don't come to me. Don't come to me. Don't come to me. Don't come to me.
I've never seen two people enjoy their jobs less than those two. Those two were being like, man, we should have just stayed podcasting.
I mean, honestly, this is the truth. Yeah, they're both scumbags. I think Kash more so. I think Kash is more amoral than Bongino. I think Bongino was more of a true believer. I don't think either of them understood what was in the Epstein files. And I think that their whole experience at the FBI now is basically defined by covering up the Epstein files, which was not on their bingo card when they took these jobs. I don't think they realized how much Trump was in those files and how credibly accused he is in those files. And now their whole job is to basically go back on everything they said about that, which again, I think Kash is just a careerist. I think it bothers Bongino more. And that's why he turns into a sweaty mess every time he does one of these interviews. The Patel-led FBI is described in the 115-page report as a rudderless ship and all fucked up. Patel is described by multiple internal sources as inexperienced, with one source saying he has neither the breadth of experience nor the bearing an FBI director needs to be successful. Another source, a self-professed Trump supporter, said Patel is not very good, may be insecure, and lacks the requisite experience or the measured self-confidence to be FBI director. Hang on a second. You're telling me this guy is not qualified to be the director of the FBI? You're telling me Crazy Eyes Kash, the guy who wrote a children's book casting himself as a wizard protecting King Donald, is not a good FBI director? I can't believe that. Who could have seen that coming? Who could have seen that guy? I can't believe this guy doesn't have the gravitas necessary to command the respect of the troops at the FBI. Who knew? Who knew? However, an additional source described him as very personable and likable, while noting he created a culture of mistrust and uncertainty among the ranks. Well, you know, those things don't really go together.
Right.
Some of the heavy criticism stems from Patel's behavior in Salt Lake City after the Charlie Kirk assassination. He is accused of giving premature public remarks that potentially jeopardized the investigation, taking credit for the work of other agencies when the suspect was arrested, and for yelling and swearing at the agent in charge. Both he and Bongino were criticized for arrogance and an unfortunate obsession with social media. One source said they need to, quote, stop talking, stop posing, and just be professional. Another said they are spending too much time on social media and public relations. Now, this matches what the multiple sclerosis article said was the complaint that Bondi and Blanche had. So that's why I'm saying, like, now you put the two together, it's looking pretty credible. They're too often concerned with building their own personal resumes. The report was written in the style of an official FBI intelligence assessment, analyzing reports from 24 FBI sources and subsources and using anecdotes to illustrate troubling themes. Now, this is from the report itself. This is really like a satire. This is a satire of a hapless FBI agent or director. According to Alpha 99, FBI Director Kash Patel arrived at the Provo Airport in Provo, Utah on September 11th, 2025. Alpha 99 said that after his plane landed, FBI Director Kash Patel would not disembark from the plane without an FBI raid jacket. Note, no, it gets better. Note, based on Alpha 99's reporting, FBI Director Kash Patel apparently did not have his own FBI raid jacket with him and refused to step from the plane without wearing one. Alpha 99 went on to say many FBI special agents and other FBI personnel were busy working in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and that FBI personnel had to stop and ask around to find an FBI raid jacket, a medium-sized one that would fit FBI Director Kash Patel.
Medium, my ass. That guy's a small.
Yeah, exactly. Alpha 99 said there were many large and extra large FBI
medium
available. See if this had happened with Bongino, they would have been covered. Finally, according to Alpha 99, FBI personnel searching for a medium-sized FBI raid jacket that would fit FBI Director Kash Patel finally
it's like a
found
Seinfeld
one.
scene.
It really is.
I'm not getting off without my jacket.
I'm not getting off without my jacket. You find me a jacket. That raid jacket, Alpha 99 said, belonged to one of the female FBI special agents. Alpha 99 said the raid jacket belonging to the female FBI special agent was then delivered to FBI Director Kash Patel on the plane.
God.
But as he was inspecting the jacket, Director Patel noticed two areas on the upper sleeves near the shoulders that did not have Velcro patches attached. Alpha 99 said FBI Director Kash Patel then reportedly said he would not leave the aircraft until he had two patches to cover those areas.
My God. Sir, we're supposed to be working here?
According to, I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine what they think of him inside the FBI? Like, I've honestly, I've never heard anything like this.
No.
According to Alpha 99, members of an FBI SWAT team took patches off their uniforms and ran those patches over to FBI Director Kash Patel at the airport. Excuse me, special agent, we need your patches.
When you're going to need your patches.
We can't. You'll be serving your country. We need the FBI director to get off the plane. He won't get off the plane without those patches.
Without the patches.
Ran those patches over to FBI Director Kash Patel at the airport. The patches were then attached to the loaner FBI raid jacket, Alpha 99 said, and FBI Director Kash Patel disembarked from the plane. So David Leake had a funny response. Not the first FBI director to wear women's clothes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's Kash with his patches.
Condition. Yeah.
With his patches. He's very happy now.
Wow.
Patel did not make, back to the New York Post, Patel did not make a positive impression, said Alpha 99. The director was not happy with the way the investigation was going and had earlier Nobody's gonna buy that a couple of kids write like that. Had earlier yelled at special agent in charge Robert Bowles and directed an expletive-laden tirade over perceived blunders in the case. Bongino later called Bowles and apologized for Patel's tirade, saying that never should have happened, according to the source. Alpha 99 also said Patel did a disservice to the FBI by breaking with bureau tradition and norms by taking credit for the good work by other agencies in the Kirk case, and seemed to imply the results achieved in the investigation would not have been possible without Patel's involvement. In another situation at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Patel was said to be upset when he heard about a discussion that took place among a few dozen FBI personnel about his request that he be issued an FBI firearm. When details of the discussion were leaked, Patel ordered everyone to get polygraphs to find out who had criticized him, according to the source, named Alpha 95, who is described as a highly respected leader and person of integrity. Alpha 95 was dismayed by the order to conduct polygraph examinations, which were needlessly punitive. The report, subtitled A Pulse Check of the First 6 Months of Patel's Leadership, will be presented to the House and Senate Judiciary Committee this week. It, quote, was never intended to be a hit piece in any way, shape, or form, say the authors, who requested anonymity to avoid jeopardizing their positions. But the anecdotal reporting from FBI personnel skewed 80-20 negative. There is good news for Patel in the report card. The rollback of DEI policies under him is welcomed by multiple sources who say it has reduced the administrative burden. And they do go on to say, people who do law enforcement feel he's made it less bureaucratic. I would interpret that as legal justification. We don't need no stinking legal justification.
Yeah, right,
but that's my interpretation. Off the record here. Back to podcasting. Inept Patel probably made copies of some of the most heinous shit mentioning Trump. However, Lucky Bongino was ordered to actually redact Trump's name in the Epstein file and still in shock about the information he came across. Reality kicking in. Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. Frank Rich, when the Trump-loving New York Post makes FBI Director Kash look like Selena in Veep, you know he's done. Yes, that is what's really significant about that being in the New York Post. Now, I do want to mention, this is kind of interesting. They ran it as an opinion piece. There's nothing about that piece stylistically that makes it an opinion piece. Right. That is a news piece.
Right.
So why did they run that as an opinion piece for some plausible deniability in case they got any shit from Patel or his people? Hey, it's an opinion.
Hey,
look
exactly.
at it. It's an opinion column. We ran it as an opinion column. Why else would you put what clearly is written as a news story in the opinion column? There's no voice of an opinion in that. Yeah, Patel is, it was very clear going in. He was going to be a fucking total disaster. But, Hegseth's a disaster. Gabbard is a disaster. The whole crew RFK is a disaster. They're all a disaster. Do they get rid of this particular disaster? Is he any more of an embarrassment to the nation than Hegseth or Secretary Felcher over there? Not really. Like, you can't, under any other administration, sure, you'd say this guy's out of there. Not under this one. Under this one, none of these people would have these jobs. So who knows? His job, Bongino's job, like I said, I do agree with the assessment. A lot of people read that Bongino is probably more disturbed by what his job turned out to be than Patel is. But yeah, their job is to cover up for Trump. That's the job of everyone in the administration. The job of everyone in the administration is to show totalitarian state levels of submission to Trump and his will, and to protect him at all costs. Their first loyalty is to Trump, and that's why you could only get crackpots who would never get a job like this any other way, who would agree to take a job like this. We covered the other night with Exeth. They lost half the people at the Justice Department, and they're begging for people to come work there. Begging. And these were considered very competitive, prestigious postings to go work at the Justice Department. They're begging people to come work there. So who do you have? You have these people, because you're only going to get people who are willing to risk not only professional suicide, but possibly jail time down the road to do whatever this administration tells you to do, a lot of which is going to be illegal. You have to be the kind of person who's willing to make that devil's bargain. There were rumors when the Epstein files thing broke that Bongino wanted out, and he pretty much disappeared after that. Like, I think he wanted out, and they sat him down, and whatever they either threatened him with or promised him, asked him to stay long enough that it doesn't look like a statement on the Epstein files. If you notice, you don't really see him much anymore. I think he didn't really know what he was getting into when he took that job. The rest of these people, they're careerists, and they're the scum at the bottom of the barrel that are willing to sell out the country for a man.
Well, and that's why they haven't been fired yet. I mean, the reason why Signalgate was not the end of the line for Hegseth is because the lesson Trump learned in his first term was that he needed loyalists around him. Right. And so as long as you're loyal to Trump, your job is safe until something comes up that they need to get rid of you for, because you are the scapegoat to protect Trump. Right. So they're trying to pin this boat double tap on this admiral so that they can keep Hegseth. But if that doesn't work, they will throw Hegseth to the wolves.
Sure.
Just like they will throw Kash Patel to the wolves. And I have a feeling that the timing is going to coincide kind of neatly for them, where when when the 30 days from the signing of the Epstein Transparency Act comes, that's around the time that this new guy Bailey becomes eligible to take over. So if that's a disappointment, they can, fire how Kash Patel really let us down, so he's out. It'll give them some kind of reason to switch things up. Anybody who gets close to Donald Trump regrets it. There are very, very few people. I won't say nobody, but very few people get close to Donald Trump and have a good experience and come out the other side being glad that they did. And so, it's a little stickier this time than it was the first term, because Trump needs loyalists around him, and that's the ultimate determinative factor. Otherwise, Signalgate would have been it for Pete Hegseth. They'd have fired him. And they should have.
It's not easy to find somebody that is going to suppress the Epstein files.
Right, exactly.
Right? You got to get somebody who's going to be willing to do that. So that's why I say, that's definitely a Trump move to have this guy ready to take over, pretend he's not going to do it, and then just do it. But the way they describe this guy, is he going to be willing to do what comes with that job? And for that reason, Kash could just stay there, because he doesn't care about basic competence. Clearly, he cares about having people in there who are not going to get him busted.
Exactly.
Please clap.